Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Solid Talk. Solid Talk, where we talk about the new laws and the changes that affect us, labor people, right? If you're a Teamster, you're an IBW, you're a UFCW, or possibly you're a barista at Starbucks. You got their own union now, right? So these laws, any changes, we talk about them here. Solid Talk. I'm your host, Gonzo G. And for many of us, last week, Thanksgiving was fun, right? We got a day off. We got to, hang out with family, and it was fun. So, but for many, it also wasn't fun. It was a very lonely time of the year for them. But first of all, did you get plenty to eat Thanksgiving night? Did you get to hang out with your favorite relatives? Maybe a cousin, maybe a brother, a cousin, an uncle that you haven't seen in a long time. Well, we hope you did, you know. But this time of the year, it's not so much fun for a lot of people. You know, it's hard to think about that. When you're working out there, you're just, going through the motions, trying to get your deliveries done, or you're trying to just get the day done. But sometimes you do encounter that one person that's not in a good mood. They're in a bad mood. Maybe they're angry, grumpy, whatever it may be. Well, what it is that in America, we have people that are very lonely this time of the year, in the holidays. Okay. So be a little bit extra patient, maybe just a little bit more kind, and be respectful to your coworkers because you don't know what they're going through. They could be having the greatest day and they could be having the worst day. You just don't know. Maybe it's a coworker that recently lost their spouse. It could be a person that is divorced. Speaking of divorce, did you guys know that in America, the trucker is 40% the highest rate right now in divorce? 40% of truck drivers in America are divorced. Yeah, it's taxing because you're on the road or you're away from home a lot. It could be a lot of reasons. Maybe you fell out of love with your spouse, or maybe just financial, or maybe, you sometimes it doesn't work out. Regardless of what it is, right now in America, there's a high rate of divorce. American truck drivers are 40% of being the divorce rate right now. They're 40%. That sucks because think about that. You're standing in the dispatch office, you're standing there with 10 of your coworkers. 4 of them might be divorced. That's some real numbers right there. And that sucks because, a good trucker or a good, truck driver, he's an emotional person. He's an emotional human being. We're not just machines that move back and forth. We have emotions. We carry emotions. Sometimes you go to a delivery, you're in a great mood, everything's going dandy. You got plans for the weekend with the wife. And some of us, we don't have that luxury. Some of us are probably divorced. I tell you myself, I've been married for 17 years. Nothing is perfect. It's like a Chevy. You love it, but it breaks down a lot. You know, sorry, Chevy. We love your cars, but come on, get with the times, fix them a little bit better. But, it could be a tough time. The holidays, it could be a tough time. And it really sucks because, you probably remember how it used to be. And it sucks, because it's not like that anymore. Some people don't use that as an excuse. They devote themselves more into their faith. They, go to church more. They go to temple. They go to mosque, whatever religion you may be. But the fact is, a lot of people do rely on their faith to get them through this tough time in the holidays. You got Thanksgiving that just passed, okay? What's next? We got Christmas and we got New Year's Eve. Like I just said, it could be a lonely time. What I'm trying to say is, if you got a coworker that's possibly divorced, you talk to him a lot, and you know that he's possibly divorced, invite him. Invite him to the Christmas party. Invite him to your New Year's Eve event. You know what? Sometimes all we need is invitation. Invitation. You just never know. Even if you invite them for a little bit, come on, hang out for a little bit, have a couple of eggnogs, whatever. Or if you don't drink, hey, come over and have a tamal. You know what I'm saying? Some champurrado. Because you know us Mexicans, we always make a lot, and we make a lot of extra. Sometimes we know that guy's gonna just show up. Somebody's gonna show up. But you know what? Right now, as even as a teamster, even as a whatever you may be, just remember this: people are not having the best times. You know, if you know that person's coworker is lonely, you know, this time of year, invite them. Even if you invite them to a dinner or a lunch, whatever, invite them. Be inviting, okay? Don't be that jerk, you know, that could have, but you didn't, because it's not your problem once you clock out. You know what I'm saying? We have to work with these people every day, okay? And sometimes putting yourself second and putting others first is a good thing. You know, this could be a situation where you do that. You help out a coworker by making sure that they're okay. You know, they're okay. There's a lot of stories that you hear, terrible stories of people that they take their lives at this time of the year. Um, you hear about people that they overdose and stuff, and it sucks. You know, you don't want that. You know, on your conscience. You know, I know that there's a lot of organizations out there that are helping people with this type of stuff, and most Teamster medical plans include if you need to talk to somebody, counseling. You know what? If you're one of them, reach out. Reach out. And if I can, I'm gonna put that in the link here. I'm gonna put a number. If you're going through something, if substance abuse, or if you're going through depressions issues, make sure that you tell somebody. You know, a good place to start could be your church. You know, talk to your church about the problem. You know, and get involved. You know, if not in your church, then maybe talk to somebody. Go to a counselor. You know, but friends are always the best counselors. You know why? They don't charge you, and friends are always there to listen. Especially us truck drivers. We have the headset on. We're just driving all day. Trust me, I mess up this hair all the time with the headset. So if you ever see me with my hair all flat in the middle, I'm sorry. Okay, it's the damn headset, the damn blue parrot. But cheap plug. Sorry. Anyways, um, just if you're going through something, tell somebody. Don't be lonely these holidays. Try to get involved in something. Maybe even community outreach. Help out with community outreach. It might lift your spirits. You know, if you're that person that's sad, depressed, you know, you got something going on, talk to somebody about it. You know, solid talk, I'll tell you this much. If it's possible next year, we would like to do some events around the holidays so that if you are feeling that way, you know what, you got somewhere to go. Make you laugh, make you do something, make you get your mind off of it. And I'll tell you this much, laughter is the cure to all diseases. Laughter is the best. You know, if trust me when I tell you this, laughter can heal anything. You know, it's good to lift up your spirits. It's good to get you, um, through the day. It's also very good to just put you in a better mindset, get you out of that rut that you're in. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, Solid Talk will be producing some events next year. But we will definitely invite that to everybody. It doesn't matter your union, what union you're from, and even if you're not union, you want to come and laugh with us and hang out, we're gonna invite you. But moving on to topic number two, and that this could be the worst time of the year to find out that you're losing your job. Apparently, according to some news reports I saw online, the company 10 Roads Express, they handle postal service delivery, and they'll be closing pretty soon. They just announced that they're going to be closing pretty soon. It sucks because those a lot of those people that work there are union. Um, they employed about 2,600 employees, 500 of them being union. I know there's Teamsters with local 79, and there's a couple other unions. I think one other union involved um, that represents those drivers. So about 500 of them are Teamsters, I believe. It just sucks because I saw this company They just ratified a deal recently, and now they're using the legal system to get out of paying their obligations to their members. They make a deal with the Teamsters, they make a deal with the union, but now they want to do the coward thing and go and hide. And number one, you're moving federal government mail. That's your business. And now you want to hide and not pay your members, not pay your employees. Those 2,600 and only 500 of them are Teamsters. But let's just say the rest of them, even if they were all Teamsters, what does that say about your company? To those people, I think they announced 60 days notice that they're going to shut down in 60 days. Wow, that's terrible. 60 days? Really? I mean, you lose your job around this time of the year. Worst timing. Worst timing. Honestly, I really, really hope that the country does something about this. Hey, senators, if you're watching this, how about you possibly pass a law that none of these companies that move your mail could do this? Because this is BS. You're putting hardworking Americans out of a job in the holidays, and you think it's okay just to do that? You're not hurting for money because the government always pays its bills, so they're paying you what they owe you. So what? You just decided to cut tape and restart another MC and start another company, maybe? That's wrong. That's really, really wrong. And I really feel for these drivers to lose your job at this time of the year. Is wrong. And we feel for you. Now, any of those drivers that are losing your job, if you see this video, tap in with me, DM us. We could probably try to put you in contact with the local union in your area to see what other gigs they have available, what other jobs. And we could see where we could place you. It sucks because these drivers are spread all over America, 2,600 of them. The ones that were not union, hey, you want to think about it. Now, this is the reason why you might want to join a union. Join a union because you go to a better company. There's a lot of great companies out there that are hiring still. And it's also eye-opener for these senators and congressmen that are out there. You want our support for your campaigns? Do something about this. Make it a law that these guys that get these federal contracts to move mail, if they pull this type of crap, the same year that they just did a contract with the unions, that they're not eligible to do this. Make sure that they own up to their contracts with their members, with the workers. Okay? So sorry to hear that. For all those workers from 10 Roads Express that move the mail, we're sorry to hear about what's going on. If you can, drop a DM and in the city where you're from, and we'll see who we can place you with and try to help you. Any other unions that want to help out, also tap in. Drop a list here. DM me. We'll put it on the list here on who is hiring and where for all those people being affected. I know there's also other employees from UPS that were affected recently. Some of them union, some of them are not union. But it sucks to lose your job at this time of the year. This is the busiest time of the year. This is when the mail goes the hardest. This is when UPS goes the hardest. So we feel for you. We're sorry about what's going on. And just keep watching Solid Talk. We'll see what we could do to help you. Topic number 3. Deals of the week that got done. Okay? These are the deals that got done this week. While Cisco Los Angeles came to their senses pretty fast. Why? It took about 15-hour strike to get them to the table and get them talking the right language, the right money as well. Now, Cisco LA has multiple unions in there. They have the warehouse that's represented by 630, and it's also the drivers represented by 848 out of Long Beach. Now, Eric Tate and his team, they went to war for their members. They went to strike, and they got the results that their members demanded. They got a good contract, I believe. Fair. I don't know all the details of their contract, but I'll tell you this. If it was enough to end a strike after 15 hours, it must have been pretty good for Eric Tate to pull the trigger on and get these guys back to work. Nobody wants to be on strike around the holidays. Luckily for these gentlemen, it was right after Thanksgiving that this happened. It wasn't before Thanksgiving. But this is good for the Cisco LA truck drivers from 848 for, going on strike, walking that line in solidarity with each other and not crossing the line, holding the company accountable to what they wanted. They wanted a good contract. They wanted a fair contract. They did a ULP strike. And if you don't know what ULP is, it's an unfair labor practice strike. Those are the best ones to get because it's respected by the NLRB. It's respected by the IBT Teamsters, the International, the Joint Council 42. They respect these ULP strikes. Big ups to all the other unions that walked the line with 848, all the unions that showed up, all the locals that showed up. I know a couple of other LA locals were there and walked the line with them. Big ups to them for holding the line and not crossing the line. So 848, kudos to you for fighting for your members and getting the deal that would get the deal done and giving them the best outcome after this negotiation. Big ups to those guys. 848, they're a very active local. Recently, they just lost a legend there, Jim Santangelo. A lot of people respected the man. Every man has his ups and downs, but that man, he fought for his members. He set the tone. He set the example. He fought. And 848, they got good people over there. They got Gilbert and his sons, all of them. These men, the Baltazars, they're fighters. They're not laying down for nobody. And if you want to come to war with 848, you're gonna have to deal with Eric Tate and the Baltazars because those men, they're fighters for their members. 848, great job. Moving on. What we got going on? Topic 4: Starbucks strike. Strike is still going on, Starbucks. So how can we help Starbucks employees, baristas on strike? The way we can help them is by not shopping at Starbucks. Simply buy your coffee somewhere else. Buy your coffee at the McDonald's if you have to. They get deliveries from a union company, from Martin Bauer. All those Teamsters from Local 63. If you're somewhere else in the nation, it might be a different local, but buy your Starbucks coffee somewhere else. Buy it somewhere else if you can. I know that our wives, they love to go and cross the line and buy that Starbucks. Respect it, or I'll make sure the credit card is turned off. Because Starbucks doesn't want to pay the baristas. Baristas go through a lot. They take a lot of orders. I used to see people get crazy delivering that stuff. And I was delivering Starbucks back in the days. I remember one Christmas, maybe, I want to say 6 years ago. 6 years ago, Christmas, they got somebody's order wrong. Okay? The girl that's taking the order, she's the manager, I believe, and she was pregnant. This guy did not give a F. At the drive-thru, she got the order wrong. She's going to remake the order. She already offered to remake the order for him. Well, guess what this guy did? The minute she turns around to start remaking the order for him, she hears a boom. The window's covered in coffee. She gave him the other coffee. She told him, let me remake it for you. He threw the coffee at the window. Luckily for him, he didn't get put to sleep with my two little friends here. Because when he came in the store, he came violently screaming at this girl. I don't know what other driver or what other customer would have got involved. I'll tell you this much. If you're a driver and you see that these guys get violent with the baristas like that, or any of those small person that can't defend themselves, don't let it happen. Get in the way and say, get out. Get out. It's not that big of a deal. Get out. And trust me, I would do it again. You don't talk to people like that, regardless if they made your order wrong. You could just wait in your car. They're going to make you another coffee. No, this guy decided on Christmas morning to throw the coffee. I'm pretty sure that he probably feels like an asshole because, number one, he could have got kicked out of that store, 86, never come back, and then he would do what? Go and complain to Starbucks, say that the order was wrong and cause a whole big hoopla. Guess what? You're wrong. You don't ever get in a person's face over an order. Just not, it's not worth it. And truck drivers, come on, you know what I'm talking about. You see this shit all the time. These people get crazy over that coffee. Starbucks, you need to pay your baristas. You need to pay the baristas because they go through a lot. Now, a lot of them are on some social causes. They promote their social causes. That's their American right to do, you know. But first of all, they're employees. They're there to do a job and a service. You got to pay them for that service. You know, Starbucks, I mean, I don't know how about now, but back then they used to have these big boards in the back. You would see the numbers they're making. Great numbers. So you'd have no excuse not to pay your people. You got to pay them a livable wage. To live in New York City, to live in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Chicago, expensive. Austin, Texas. Come on. Expensive to live there. It's very expensive to live there. And the worst part about it is that you're paying them not a livable wage. You're not paying them a livable wage. You gotta give them a livable wage. If you're making that much money in your coffee sales, you're not charging no $4 for a coffee, $3 for a coffee, $2 for a coffee. You're charging some big dollars for those coffees. So pay up. As a matter of fact, the state of New York just found Starbucks liable, and now they got to pay the state of New York $39 million. Why? They violate the Fair Work Week law. I don't know much about that law, but they filed a lawsuit against them, the city, and they violated the city Fair Work Week law. Now, if anybody knows much about that law or wants to talk about it, drop it in the DMs. Let's get the conversation going. But Starbucks, pay up. You got to pay up New York now, $39 million. I mean, California is probably next to hit you with some lawsuit. Seattle, Washington, other states. We understand that you have a business model. But when your CEO is making all the money and the workers are living off of scraps, you got a problem. You got to correct that. Or some consumers might just decide to go to your competitors and then you don't get nothing either. Your barista's more than likely, well, yeah, you'll probably fire them because it's slow, but they'll find other jobs. They'll find other jobs and they'll probably go to another place that's union. So, come on, pay up. That's topic number 4. Topic number 5 for me today is just pretty much let's talk about how we can improve ourselves as union members. Okay. Union members, a lot of us, we have this problem where we don't participate. We don't get involved. We don't like to go to things. We don't like to. Well, let me ask you a question. When the union got you those benefits, you were happy. When the union got you that great new raise, you were excited. When the union got you that medical that you didn't have before you were union, you were pumped up. The least you could do is go to your local, partake in a meeting, and listen to what's going on. You might not have to agree with the people saying this stuff there, okay? But at least listen. At least get yourself indulged in the message, okay? Now, what's the union doing? What are they up to? Is your union active? Are they helping the community? Right now, with the Christmas toy drives coming up, there's a lot of unions out there doing that. And you know what? They always, number one thing they need is volunteers to hand out the stuff. Okay? So remember that. If you're a union member, it's important for you to be involved. Go to your meetings. If anything, ask your shop steward. Shop steward doesn't want to tell you and he's in a bad mood, then go to the next shop steward. And if you're a shop steward and you're being an asshole to your members, come on. Do better. You were elected by your members. Inform your members. Okay, not everybody has Saturday and Sunday off, which a lot of these meetings hang on the weekend. Okay, not all of these members have that privilege. Now, they don't have the seniority. That doesn't mean they don't want to partake in what's going on. They want to partake, but they also want to feel involved and informed. I know personally from 2 places I have worked now, the person that feels the least involved and they just say, they don't care. is the Spanish worker, the Hispanic worker. They're the ones that they just like, it's not that they don't care. It's the fact that nobody tells them nothing. Nobody gives them information in their language. Nobody even gives them a contract in their language. There is some locals that are proactive. In Los Angeles, I know for a fact that they will give you a contract in your language. If it's Spanish, they'll make it in Spanish. I'm pretty sure there's other locals in other places. If you're a majority Vietnamese or whatever language you may need to read it in, they'll put it in your language. So unions and union members, let's meet each other at the middle. Let's get involved. Let's get involved and go to meetings. Let's go to meetings and listen to what's going on. If not the meetings, okay, then get involved in activities. If there's a union strike line, okay, you're going home, tell your wife you're going to be an hour and a half late. Go walk the line for an hour. Go walk that line for an hour. Look at two things that happen. You get great cardio, okay? You get to move your legs. Second, you get to share the moment with somebody on strike, okay? To them, maybe there's only 30 of them at their job site. But let's just say an extra 400 of us showed up to give them a hand and walk that line. You don't think that company's going to notice? They're going to come to the table fast when they see that. Okay, so let's support each other. If somebody's on strike, walk the strike line. Or bring some waters, bring some donuts, whatever you can. Help out those guys on strike line. But, like I said, if you don't go to union meetings, you're not informed. Okay? Being a union member, it's all about being informed. How are you going to know your rights if you haven't been to the meeting? How are you going to know what protections you have unless you read your contract or unless you go to a meeting? There's a lot of members that have given up on the union and they're like an agency guy. They just pay their dues and go to work. They don't care nothing about nothing. Well, maybe that could be a sign of the message is not coming across the way it should. Maybe their business agent doesn't show up enough. Maybe they don't show up enough to the local. The thing is this, we got to meet each other in the middle. In order for a great union to thrive, you got to be involved. Every local has their ups and downs. Every local has good people, bad people. But don't be a bad member. Be a good member and involve yourself. Involve yourself as much as you can. You don't have to be best friends with anybody in office. All you got to do is be able to show up, take the information, share that with your four or five closest coworkers, and keep it going. If you were to show up at least to the local, maybe, 3-4 times a year, you're pretty informed. You'll be pretty informed on what's going on, what position the local's going in, how the financials are going, and every aspect of your local. It's very important as a member to be informed. Okay, shop steward elections just happened at my workplace at Irvine. I work in Brea, but Irvine just happened. Okay, members know who's running. They vote for who's the most favorite, who's the most popular, or they vote for whoever they think is their best choice. But I think like this, it's very important for most unions to understand that it's the members that gets the final voice on who the steward is, not the administration. It should be the members because they're the ones that vote for that person to represent them in the workplace. It's very important for that to be the case, always. And I can tell you right now that all unions across America would agree that an involved union is about the members liking their steward. If their steward is liked or at least respected enough by their people at work, it's going to go well. Well, friends, let's wrap it up. Okay? Stay out there, stay active, and make sure that you partake in your union. Make sure that you're involving yourself in any activity going on. And make sure that you're always respectful to your coworker, regardless of disagreements. Disagreements aside, you could be best friends or not best friends. Always respect each other. And till next time, I'll see you next week. This has been Solid Talk with Gonzo G, and I really appreciate the support. Please give me a like and share with your friends. Solid Talk, you can find it on YouTube, on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. Any topics, anything, any shout outs, birthday shout outs, whatever. Drop it. If anybody's retiring from your workplace, give me their information. We'll talk about who they are. Let's do a small bio on everybody that's retiring, because you know what? Every Teamster, or every IBW, anybody's in the union deserves to be talked about. And you know what? Everybody has a story. Where did it start? What year did you become a union member? And I'll tell you right now, some of the best have retired already, and they're taking the knowledge with them. Let's get the knowledge before they go. Okay, friends, see you next week. Solid Talk. We appreciate you guys. And make sure that you're very, very respectful to your coworkers this week, because it's the holiday season and everybody's not in a great mood. So take care, friends. Solid Talk. Bye-bye now.